Hi guys, right, so this video is to address what's been going on social media for the past week or so, just over a week I believe, in regards to Abdullah, Hasanat and Sister Sarah.
Guys, I'm not a regular on these sort of things, like, you know, YouTube and whatnot, so if it comes out shit, do excuse me. My name's Wakas, and this is my wife's channel. And basically today, like she said, we're going to be addressing what's going on. And as of today, as a couple of hours ago, there's a lot of things that have come to light, a lot of evidences have come forward, a lot of statements and whatnot, and there's much more stuff coming out now than previously. Like before, it was just about the individual and his wives. Now there's like a new plot to the whole story. There's way more stuff going on now. Like, there's a lot of things. So we're going to try to address the main things, right? From polygamy to the Charity Commission to the physical sexual abuse, what else is there? Let me think. Well, you know, there's so much.
To general awareness for young people looking up to certain influencers.
Yes, that is a very important thing. That is actually a very important topic that I'm going to be talking about as well. How people are influenced by YouTube celebrities and general celebrities, and how, you know, we have seen now, while we'll be explaining here what's happened, is that, you know, people on YouTube can easily appear on YouTube as one thing, and off YouTube, as in off camera, they're totally different. Like, so different that I'm sure none of you had imagined. By the time this video is released, it would be common knowledge that Hasanat was a kafir at one point, as in he left the fold of Islam at some point, or probably multiple points, or is it just one point, I don't know. But from what I've gathered, that is the case. He basically became an agnostic, from what I've read. This is like a WhatsApp conversation between, I think it's Abdullah. He's one of his first wife, I believe. Well, actually, don't know if his first wife, but one of his wives, between her and obviously Hasanat. So there's a lot of things going on, and I will be addressing about the whole influence of YouTubers and how to be wary of, you know, just celebrities and what a lot of people are like.
We will mention a few other YouTubers and influencers in the Dawah scene, just generally on social media as well. Obviously, I'm a makeup artist. I look up to certain influencers who within the beauty industry, who also portray their life on social media alongside their profession and their careers. Now, we're going to take a few people's names. That does not mean we're personally attacking them, right? This is a disclaimer now. It does not mean we are attacking them. It does not mean we're pointing fingers at them. And it does not, this is not cue for anyone to suspect them. When we don't suspect these guys, but we just want to raise awareness that in terms of, don't just trust people so easily. And I guess the reason why this specific couple have been able to do what they have done, or get to the stage where they currently are at, is because of the amount of people who have put their trust in them, just from what they see on the internet. And that's one of our main concerns. Obviously, I'm an elder sibling. My husband here, he's the elder sibling as well. And you know, when you look at these things and you see these things happening around you, and you think, you know what, I've got younger brothers and sisters who look up to certain people who'd, you know, in faith give their money away, you know, their hard-earned money, their you know, just putting so much trust, so much faith in certain people. It worries you because you think, you know, who are they trusting? So we will be using a few YouTubers and influencers' names. Once again, we're using it as an example, solely because we watch these people. We watch their videos, so their names are common with us. That's all it is.
That's right, guys. Like, the names I'm going to mention are the people that I do genuinely look up to. I watch their content on a regular basis. Just like what
you take heed from their videos as well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, to be fair.
Right, we're going to start with polygamy first. This is where it all started,
yeah,
didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
So polygamy as a general topic, as a sunnah act, and the dangers of throwing the word polygamy around everywhere.
What I've personally seen on people's comments in maybe Instagram, YouTube comments, Facebook, what I've seen is that people have been saying stuff like, oh, how could you do something like, as in get married again, and it's so wrong, and why did you do it? They're challenging polygamy. You see, and people are even saying stuff like that they have a dislike for polygamy as Muslims. What you are fundamentally saying is that you dislike, or you do not agree to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, hear what I said. You have a dislike of an act that the Prophet ﷺ did, which is Sunnah for Muslims. I'm not encouraging people to go have another wife, have multiple wives, but I need you to realize what you are saying. As for how sinful that is, I personally don't know. Does that take people out of the fold? I don't know. I'm not saying that. But you need to understand, you need to remember how important the Prophet ﷺ is. Because to be a Muslim, you believe in the one true God. This is basically the Shahada I'm talking about. And then after that, you have to believe that the Prophet ﷺ is the final messenger of that one true God. And if you dislike something of that last prophet of God, so basically, you are in dangerous grounds. This is a very sensitive thing. You have to be very careful of what you say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved messenger. You cannot, as a Muslim, you cannot oppose anything that the Prophet ﷺ did and that is proven by authentic sources. There's certain things that are out there that the Prophet ﷺ did, said this or done this, that they come as fabricated. That's a different story. We're not talking about that. This is a documented, clear-cut, proven Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. You as Muslims cannot say you dislike it or you do not agree to it. If you don't want your spouse, your partner, to get married again, that's a whole different ball game. That is you can address that to your partner. That's something different. That doesn't mean you dislike it or you disagree to it. That just basically means you don't want your partner to have another wife because you feel like you can't live like that. That's fine.
The religion has set conditions to polygamy. Because obviously it's understandable polygamy isn't for everybody.
Another point that just come to my mind, some people may argue and say that, okay, we didn't mean it like that. Now let me give you an example of when you say something, irrespective of what you meant, is valid. When a husband has a fight with his wife, argument's sake, hypothetical example, a husband is arguing with his wife on a regular basis, they get into a big argument, and next thing you know, the husband's like, he says to his wife, I divorce you, 3 times. Out of anger, Now, many scholars say that as a divorce is valid, that the divorce counts. But yet, it wasn't in the guy's heart to say it, he said it out of anger. So you need to understand, if someone out of anger can divorce his wife but didn't meant to, but it's valid. So when you say stuff like that you dislike the acts of Prophet ﷺ, so you can imagine, you may argue and say that, we didn't mean to say it like that, but you did say it, so therefore you may get punished for it. So be very careful of what you say. Be very careful. Divorce is one thing, but the Prophet ﷺ is a total different subject. It's your divorce is over here, it's individuals, it's between you and your wife. But when it comes to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ is there. He's not about you and your wife or your husband and wife. It's about the whole Muslim Ummah I'm talking about. everyone is getting offended. I am offended as a Muslim when Muslims are saying that this act of Prophet ﷺ they dislike and disagree with. So I'm personally offended, and I'm sure the DIARIES who have addressed it, they are offended as Muslims. They feel hurt. How could any Muslim say that? I'm not a very good example. I'm not a very good Muslim out there. Yeah, I know what I do, and I can say that as a Muslim, I feel pissed off and outraged. How could Muslims say that about a Sunnah act? So you can imagine how people who are more devoted to religion must feel right now. So be very careful.
Moving on,
Yeah.
we are going to address double personalities and double personalities on social media, obviously with reference to Abdullah and Hasanat.
What's your take on it?
My take on double personality and social media is more of a social issue. I feel like young people who look up to these influencers, bloggers, it has an impact on young people. It has a, whether we like to agree to it or not, or whether we want to label young children as dumb, whatever it is, young people are naive. Clearly, Sister Sarah, who admitted everything she is, she's 20 years old. She was naive, she was vulnerable, right? And she fell into this. So imagine all these people looking up to you, looking up to this couple who are on the internet, portraying their life in a certain way. Like this Abdullah and Hasanat, they were very they're portraying themselves as a very lovey-dovey couple, very religiously strong, spiritual people, living in this day and age, yet doing everything they want to do, e.g. traveling the world, be it for ruqya purposes, for in reference to the work they were doing, irrespective of that. But they were traveling around, which a lot of young people like to do, right? Making clearly decent money to be traveling around, to be wearing nice fancy clothes, which they do. Apple watches, Timberlands. It's not, to maintain a lifestyle like that, to maintain wearing clothes like that, you need to have a strong income coming in.
You really do. Like, 31 years old, still never had a pair of Timberlands. And I've been working for a long time, since 16. Okay.
But yeah, so my take on double personality online is for the youth to be very careful to who they look up to, who they believe. Don't take everything you see on screen as it is. Look what's happened to till now, right? They've been accused of raising so much, hundreds of thousands of pounds for charity and misusing that money, possibly on themselves, possibly on their living expenses, whatever it is. But they've been accused of all of this. Now imagine you had faith in them and you gave them £1,000, right? Imagine your income on a monthly basis is £1,500 and you gave them £1,000. That's a large sum of your monthly income that's gone towards this couple who we don't know where that money's gone.
Yeah.
Even though they've addressed it, even though it's gone to the Charity Commission, no one really clarified the aftermath of it.
This is the thing now. Hasanat made a video about 22 hours ago on Instagram where he addresses that it was him who highlighted the issue with the Charity Commission, that they had frozen the funds. Fair enough, you highlighted it. You brought it to light that the Charity Commission has frozen the funds. But unfortunately, brother, if you're watching this, you didn't, verify what happened afterwards. You didn't say anything on that, like, were the funds returned back to the donators, people who donated the money, or did the money go onto the projects? And you didn't be open about it. You just merely highlighted that, yeah, it was me who told everyone to begin with. So how can people, accuse me of anything?
That doesn't mean
anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean nothing. That doesn't mean jack. That could basically some people may interpret that that you realize that you knew that, okay, you found out the Charity Commission has frozen the funds. You thought before people find out, I'll address it myself, so it makes you look like the good guy. Now I'm not saying this, but some people may interpret it as that. It's possible.
Also, with the rumours of you being agnostic and no one knew about it,
Well,
again, that's
regards to YouTube personalities, and this is now our initial disclaimer is going to be reflected here, what we mentioned about different people. Now, Hasanat is an individual. On screen, he seemed like a very pious individual. very well mannered, well spoken, irrespective of what we've seen in recent times about the conversations he's had between himself and his wives and whatnot. They're quite shocking, personally. As of today, I didn't think that Brother Hasanat could be a possible atheist. Now, today, agnostic, atheist, non-Muslim basically. I'm not saying he's right now, but he was at one point. I couldn't imagine that.
According to his wife.
According to his own wife. Forget, what other people are saying. People can say anything, but when your own wife is saying it, that at one point, they, and also we were being influenced to be out of the fold of Islam. You know what I mean? So he wasn't just himself being agnostic, his wives were made to be agnostic at one point. But on camera, we did not see a glimpse of it. We all believed that Hasanat is a very pious individual. I had that perception of Brother Hasanat. And when I hear or read and see evidence that clearly states that Brother Hasanat at one point was agnostic, but I'm like, this guy was doing ruqya on people, charging people money for going doing home visits for ruqya to help people. Ruqya is one of the most rewarded things out there, right? And he was doing that whilst agnostic, possibly. How does that go together? How could a non-Muslim do ruqya? How does that happen? The way it happened was because on camera, we were all deceived to believe that he is a Muslim. Now, do you see how easy it is to have a double life? You have your actual life off camera, and then you have your online persona on camera, where you portray yourself to be an individual of a particular caliber, of a particular position, Raki, a pious individual. And people basically donated over £300,000 to a possible agnostic. Well, at the time he could have been. Don't know if he is now. But again, from the Instagram videos I've seen today, he doesn't sound very non-Muslim to me. He sounds very much aligned, as being a Muslim. So
the way he has addressed people,
so
obviously.
Do you know what I'm saying? That people are easily deceived. When his own wife is saying that, my husband was a non-Muslim at one time, and we never thought of that whatsoever. But yet we have donated, not me personally myself, but people, the general public has donated over £300,000 to a non-Muslim. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust non-Muslims. Don't get it twisted. But the truth of the matter is, all the people, the more the Muslims who are donated to Brother Hasanat, is because he appeared to be a pious, trustworthy Muslim. Hence why they donated the money to, given the money to him, and trusted him that he would use the money wisely and accordingly. But we don't know if he has now. There's a lot of doubts. Now, talking about Brother Hasanat, one needs to think about other individuals as well, because Brother Hasanat is not the only Muslim on YouTube now, is he? Whose work is related to Islam and spreading the deen and whatnot. There's other individuals like Brother Ali Dawah, there's Brother Mohammed Hijab, who are active on social media. They're active on the Dawah scene, and they also collect a lot of money. I'm not saying to doubt them individuals. I'm not saying that, but you need to understand. If Ali is watching this video at some point, you need to understand, bro. If an individual like Hasanat, who came across as so pious, turned out to be a kafir at one point, a non-Muslim at one point, according to his own wife, what I'm saying is, if someone like Hasanat, who to us appeared very pious and a very, very pious individual, very active on social media, so entrust with that trust was built, the way he behaved, the way he was on camera. So people trusted him, therefore gave their hard-earned money to him in order so that he can carry out the activities in Rohingya or wherever it may be, whatever projects were ongoing at the time or are as of this moment, if there is any recent collections being made by Brother Hasanat. People trusted him solely because of his online, his persona, his personality that was portrayed online. Now clearly it has been proven that the way he's online, he's not like that offline. Now how could I or everyone else who watched Brother Ali Dawah, who watched Brother Mohammed Hijab, or any other well-known DIARIES, these two are watched on a regular basis, so hence why I'm addressing these guys. And also in regards to the situation, they're quite heavily involved in investigating what happened and what's going on. So how could I trust these guys with my money now? Now Ali, if you're watching this, how could I trust you? I'm sorry, how could I? One brother, he's done this, portrayed himself to be a very pious individual. The thobe, the maswak and the persona, the appearance as a Muslim has done this. I'm not saying, by the way,
although saying a thobe and a maswak doesn't depict a person being Muslim or spiritual, obviously all of these things build up.
Of course, they add into the character, and they do, of course. So, how much trust any other YouTuber out there, collects money for projects? Personally, I don't give my money to any YouTuber, may that be Ali Dawah, Mohammed Hijab, or any other YouTuber in Dina Tokyo. If they ever do, I'm not saying they do, but if they ever do, I wouldn't personally, if I was to follow their work, I wouldn't. Not now, definitely not now. Before I didn't. So, I personally say to the young people, don't get gassed by looking at so-and-so individual online. Respect their work, learn from them, but don't put your full trust in them just because they're online. They appear to be in a particular position. They appear to be trustworthy. If they're just because they appear to be trustworthy doesn't necessarily mean they are trustworthy. I think it was one of the companions. I think it was Umar radiallahu anh. I think it was him, or it's from our religion basically. When you get to know a person, how do you get to know them? You sit with them, you're their neighbors, if you travel with them, or you do business with them. That's how you know truly know a person. And that's when you really know if they're trustworthy. Now, someone online who, active DIARIES, you can't really trust them, I'm sorry to say. Or I'm sorry if this affects your collections, I'm sorry, but, I think people need to realize that, we can't be giving our money to any, Ali Hijab or anyone. The charities are there for collections. The DIARIES, from now, I think the way they should go forward is to focus on the Dawah projects. If they're doing collections for the Dawah projects, that's something different. I'm talking about, crisis in the world. These guys can't be doing that now. Because that's what this couple...
Do you know what it is? But then it's almost like saying if there's a crisis and then DIARIES having such a large following, it helps, doesn't it, them raising awareness and raising funds?
They can create awareness and talk about crisis and advise people to donate and share different charities that they have looked into that are trustworthy, so people can donate to them verified charities, so the money will be used properly.
Yeah.
But when YouTubers start collecting money themselves, like these guys have, look what happened.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what's happened yet, but look, it's in the air.
It's something to keep your eyes peeled for, especially to the young crowd here. Like, you need to. Do you know what it is? We're living in the flipping 21st century, right? We're so advanced right now. It's not hard to do a bit of research. It's not hard collecting stats on certain organizations, charity organizations. It's not hard to, look into where their funds are going, how much of it is going towards administration costs, how much is going towards so and so. Like, there's different sectors. I've worked with charities before myself, and even though they don't say to you, right, this is what we're using for this, right, you can find this out yourself. It's not hard. It's just, a tap of a few keyboard, a few keys on the keyboard, and that's it. You know what you're looking for. You know where to find things.
Yeah, saying this now, I know Ali has made a recent Instagram video where he said that because of Hasanat, it makes us look like potential fraudsters.
It does.
Unfortunately, yes, it does.
And that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying, yeah. I'm not saying that you are, but it's a possibility.
It does make everyone look like fraudsters.
Yeah.
Who do you trust?
Exactly. So trust charities who are focusing on, crises around the world. Don't give your money to any well-known celebrities or well-known YouTubers. Don't give your money, people. Don't fall for this again. And as for the Dawah guys, they're collecting funds. By all means, guys, help them. They need help, financial help for when they need to travel, for equipment and all sorts. Yes, they need help. Can't remember words right. Yes, they do need help.
They need support to
give
Dawah, which is towards a good cause. Yet
that's fine.
Charity doesn't mean give it to someone who's dying, poor, starving. If they're coming from an area that's being bombed.
No, let's not go and what people want to do, who they want to give to. That's up to them.
No, but what I'm saying is giving charity doesn't only mean giving it to those who really need it. Giving charity could also mean supporting something that's helping towards.
If anyone does watch this, I'm just gonna merely mention who I give my money to. I give a charity which is run by or managed by, you could say, by brother, a nasheed artist that works along with Sheikh Hassan. He runs a charity with Sheikh Hassan. I don't know the charity's name, but is it Ihsan?
Ihsan, bro, Ihsan.
Brother
Yeah.
Ihsan. They got a charity. It's they don't. It's a 100% donation charity. I personally use them. Then there's a Ummah Welfare Trust. I've been using them for years. I've done collections, street collections, and I've given to them, or my own personal collection that I've done within family. I've given to them. They are one of the more well-known, most trusted charities that I've ever come across, and many other people as well. They have always, when you search on them on the Charity Commission, the figures, you will always see that those guys always work on very minimum cost compared to some of the charities. They have hundreds of thousands of pounds of marketing only, and these guys have spent only a fraction on total marketing and individual salaries. So that charity personally I use is Ummah Welfare Trust as well. And if you don't want to, apart from these two charities, if you really want to support a cause that will benefit you as Muslims who are watching this, in the West, where we are being portrayed as, homophobes and as not pedophiles so much, not yet. Homophobes, and you got being portrayed as groomers and terrorists and whatnot. If you really want someone to give the correct image of us, to portray us in the right light, then support this. It's like an online news channel, you could say. It's called 5 Pillars. Brother Dilly was saying. I'm very fond of his work. I absolutely have the utmost respect for Dilly. He's doing, there's no one else that I've come across who's doing what he's doing, and that work is absolutely crucial as Muslims, that we support his work. The Dawah, everything, yeah. Another Dawah, is not only 1-2 people doing it. Dawah has been done by so many organizations. You got the DIARIES doing a fantastic job. Hamza Sote is talking about. You got Abdullah Green, I think that's his name. But DIARIES as an organization are doing a fantastic job anyway. As other, Dawah organizations and individuals and personalities are doing it. Mufti Menk, al scholar, he does a fantastic job. And there's other.
These are just to name a few.
These are just names, obviously, who are actively doing Dawah. So there's more than one individual doing or in the Dawah scene, clearly. But whereas when it comes to in England, in this country, in the United Kingdom, who is actively challenging the government on a media platform, I only see one individual who's from a Sunni background, who's non-biased, and that is Brother Dilly was saying, 5 Pillars. So I personally believe 5 Pillars need a big push, a big financial support. If you really want the situation to change for Muslims in this country, to have the correct portrait of Muslim to be shown out there, help Brother Dilly. That's what I would say. to people who are watching. So anyway,
back to YouTubers and
so
influencers
YouTubers, you know what?
raising money.
You let YouTubers stick to their fields. If their field is dawah, you know, support them when it comes to dawah only. When it comes to crisis in the third world, leave that to charities, trustworthy charities. Don't give to any, you know, fancy-looking charity. Because at the end of the day, you gotta understand, when you make posters and billboards and this and that, it's all dough, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. It's all money. You know, billboards don't go for free. You know, these media, these advertisement companies, they don't say, okay, you're a charity, we'll put your billboard on for free. No, mate. So when you see something on a billboard advertised, oh, you know, Islamic relief or whatever, I'll say openly Islamic relief, but no, because I've seen what kind of money they, you know, their salaries and whatnot. You know, there's like penny appeal, biggest crooks going on the face of the earth, in my opinion. I don't like them, I actually despise them. You know, what my mate does. You know, whenever they send, you know, a prepaid envelope, penny appeal, he puts the penny and they send it back to him and that's a little there. That's what you're getting off me. He does it every time. Because penny appeal, everyone knows penny appeal. Like, when you're paying celebrities to come host your event, them celebrities ain't coming for free, bro. Bro, if they're not coming for free, they're charging dollar, big money. So stick to humble charities who don't focus so much on promotions and you know, all this, you know, glitter and gloss, whatever you want to call it. That's what I say. But yeah, carry on.
The situation with obviously Abdullah and Hasanat was a big eye opener. Charities, you know, like obviously as we've already addressed, look into it. Look into the charities you're going to donate to. Look into where your money is going. For young people, keep your eyes peeled. Look at who you are looking up to. Don't be so blinded by a little bit of. We look at a Muslim couple who are a bit lovey-dovey and we think, oh, you know, this is something for us to look up to, and there's thousands of Muslim sisters looking up to this couple, thousands of Muslim brothers looking up to this couple. Like, you know, polygamy, yeah, it is a sunnah act, yes, it is permissible, but when you portray, you know, when you're making polygamy look a certain way, or when you're just openly saying, yeah, you know what, I have 2 wives or 3 wives, you need to kind of explain to the youth why you are able to have 2-3 wives.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise we've been through this stage, right? I'm like in my mid-20s, my husband is in his early 30s. You have to understand, we've been through a stage where when young people first come into religion, or they're first looking into religion, they're like, religion, you know, this, that, whatever, and the first thing they pounce on is, yes, you can have more than 1 wife. There's conditions to having more than 1 wife. You can't just say, right, yeah, the Prophet ﷺ had more than 1 wife, I can have more than 1 wife too. You know, you don't want to have 3 wives beginning of the week, and then by its fortnight you've got a group of 4 people who are divorced now.
That actually, now that you mentioned that, Brother Hijab, he shared some footage, some WhatsApp conversation, I think it was messages of, was it Brother Hijab?